tell me a little bit about what spring camp's been like for the defense?
It's been physical. That's the first thing that comes to mind. The other part is we're 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 bringing back a lot of experience. So we're playing with a lot of guys that played a lot of snaps. So we're farther along from an install standpoint, and situationally we're playing football every day against our offense, and that makes you better.
Yeah. One of the things we talked to Coach Jake Spavital about was how there wasn't really an interruption in this year's camp, unlike last year. How have you seen kind of that consistency help the defense?
Well, we've been able to get into a routine. That's for sure. We've been able to spread the practices out. So, you practice really hard. You focus on that day, and then the next day you're able to correct it, recover, and build back up for that following practice. So the routine's been huge, and they've handled it very, very well. I mean, to me, this is the most mature team we've had since I've been here, just from an age standpoint, but an experience standpoint. And we've just got a great group of young men that are in these walls are working hard every day.
Yeah, when you talk about kind of the maturity of the team, what are some of the differences that you're seeing out of the players?
Well, just accountability. They're individually, they all have the right approach, the right mindset. They're coming to practice to improve on what they need to improve on, and then they're also a standard to help, from a unit standpoint, where they're really focusing on, the production in working on things that we need to improve on from the last season.
Yeah, you mentioned you have a lot of experienced guys. You've lost a couple starters, right? You had Savion and Binky and a couple
Mm-hmm.
DBs move on. Who are some of the guys that maybe were playing behind them, still got experience, but you're expecting to kind of step into a larger role this year?
Yeah, well, up front, obviously you return, Nico and Sammy, guys that played a lot of football, but we were able to redshirt Devon Sears and Jordan Mitchell, and Anthony Shipton was a young man that was able to get a valuable experience, in the weight room and then at practice and understand. So, that's going to be a big emphasis for us. Moving positions wise, moving Jordan to more of an outside rush position has really sparked that room, and allowing him to be in situations where he can be really productive for us. Those guys are all coming back and returning, but we've also got a good nucleus behind them that we're gonna be allowed to really look forward to having some depth with. At linebacker, obviously Sione is returning, and then London has moved to inside backer, so he's played a lot of football. So you don't really feel, obviously missing Savion and Binky was a huge, it was always a step in backwards, but as far as the feel of replacing some of those positions with guys that have already played a lot of football, you don't feel that drop off as much. In the back end, we've got a lot of guys getting a lot of valuable reps. The two newcomers, AJ and PK, have done a lot of great things, and Zion and Tori are cranking it up, and as well as DJ. So a lot of experience there. But then you also got some younger guys back behind them that have been here for a couple of years that are playing a lot of football.
Yeah. For the guys who are kind of switching positions, like Jordan and London, how are they taking to the transition, switching positions?
Great. I think that it was a group decision. You always want, when you go through position change, you want them to make sure that they're comfortable, and if both sides are comfortable and it's the best thing for the team, then it's a really good solution. But throughout the season, they kind of played some of those spots throughout games, so they're kind of familiar with it. So it's not a huge transition for them, but the details and the intricacies of each position, they're just getting from different rooms.
You mentioned AJ and PK, and I know you have a couple other new players on this defense. How have you seen them adjust coming into the team for their first time?
Huge. They fit in very well. They've just come to work, and they've been very competitive at practice. They're coming to get a job, and I think that that provides a lot of things. It promotes competition, and it also gives you a mindset that these kids can go in and play and function at a high level. I'm very excited about all our newcomers. CJ Williams is another one, an inside backer who's really shown some flashes, especially when we go live. So those guys have just kind of quietly in the shadows put their head down and worked, and it's been fun to see.
Yeah. We just talked to Coach Jennings. Can you tell me a little bit about bringing him in and how you've seen him kind of take control of the DBs?
Oh, he's been a huge impact for us and for me personally. You know, I've known him for a long time. You know, we used to compete against each other with rival schools in recruiting when we coached the same position, and then had a chance to work with him. And, you know, I knew that we needed a veteran, you know, a guy that could be a mentor and really, really help me from a day-to-day standpoint. And he's been that and beyond. You know, our kids have really adapted to him. He's, you know, a mature figure for them to reach out to, and you can see his impact already throughout this team.
Talking to Coach Jake on Tuesday, he said he expects the spring game to be a little bit more of a controlled setting rather than more live tackling. So with that being said, what do you want to see out of this defense in the scrimmage on Saturday?
Just competition. You know, we'll have a few live segments, and you know those are going to be situational football. You know, I'd really like to look up after the practice and feel like, you know, we got the most out of every practice this spring. You know, we've done a great job up to this point, and I think that you come off the field with another competitive day. You know, because that's what is to me is really glaring, is it's a competitive offense versus a competitive defense out there day to day, and if we can come off the field with that type of finish, then we'll be really pleased.